YouTubers, Mike Martin's here, Mike Martin's channel, bringing you a very, very special and important edition of Housing Crisis. I really want to put this together for you guys. It is a big problem. It is the most talked about topic. It is what everyone talks about. Everywhere you go, everyone talks about the housing crisis in the English-speaking countries. The empty homes, the vacant homes, the abandoned homes, anything anyone talks about is housing and how it's affecting people on a daily regiment. Anyways, it is I, Mike Martin's your humble servant, and I have asked a question on one of my videos, and I got a lot of response back and some really good input. So I did a little bit of research, and I want to do a special edition on housing crisis discussing empty homes across English-speaking countries and how and why. Why is this happening? Well, everybody knows that a lot of people want to park their money outside of their countries. And speculators and investors come in and want to buy up and park their money in safe havens. Because a majority of people either don't trust their government, or the money was made illegally, so they have nowhere else to put the money until, the heat or the steam or the heat blows over, until things cool down, right? Anyways, here comes, I'm going to start with this one here in Melbourne. This is a really good one. I'm going to go to a lot of cities, so here, everyone calm down, okay? So, massive number of Melbourne homes are laying vacant. Angry homeless agencies. So, there is a massive number of empty homes in Melbourne. So, I did Trends in the Housing Market. If you haven't seen that segment of my show, it's called Trends in the Housing Market. It's really good. And what I do is I cover housing crisis from basically all the English-speaking countries. And I asked people to send me links. So someone sent me this link from Australia, and I really want to know, on average, how many empty homes are there in some of the major cities. So I got this Melbourne one here. And I hope you're sitting down for this, because this one's actually pretty big. So if you're all fuming and you're at home and you want to buy your first home because you know what, it's getting to that point, you're getting older, and home ownership gives you a sense of freedom and individuality, a sense of independent ownership, that you don't have to take crap from a landlord. You have your own place to live. You have a place you could call your home, a place to hang your hat. But anyways, massive number of homes. Let's go. Massive number of Melbourne residential properties are laying vacant. Research from tax reform organization shows more than 82,700 residential properties. That's 4.8% of Melbourne's housing stock sits empty. While many people struggle to afford to buy or even rent accommodation, it's a figure has sparked anger of social housing agencies and some skepticism from Real Estate Institute of Victoria, REIV. The study, Speculative Vacancies by Tax Reform Advocates, Prosper Australian estimates that 82,724 Melbourne properties are unoccupied based on water use and less than 50 liters a day during 2014. So, definitely either someone's not showering or what the case is, or watering their lawns. From the data provided by City West Water, Southeast Water, and Yarra Valley Water. You see, the water companies are all teed off. They got all these pipings and all these connections to all these homes and sewering systems, and they're not making their money back because they're not even using 50 liters per day of water. And it's really upsetting a lot of the water companies and the electrical companies and all the companies that have to hook up utilities to these places, and then now they're not collecting from it. So you thought that was a foolproof thing. You're always going to make money off these people that are living there, but when there's no one living there, what do you do? Based on this information, Melbourne vacancy rates jumped 28% in a year. It's huge. The study said speculative vacancies by tax reform advocates Prosper Australian estimates 24,000. Okay, I went through that. Sorry. Based on information, Melbourne vacancy rate jumped 28% a year. I got that already. Sorry about that. The report said putting 24,872 properties deemed demonstrably unoccupied due to 0 liters per day. Wow. Reading on the market for rent would increase Melbourne's vacancy rate at 8.3%. This is huge, people. So here are the top 20 postal codes for residential vacancy rates according to Prosper, Victoria. So 3053, that's in Carlton, 7.6, Melbourne, 6.7, Abbotsford, 6.7, Sandringham, 5.7, Clyde North, 5.5, Melbourne University, Parkville, 5.2, Edward, oh, this goes on forever. And let me see, well, what other cities are here that I know. I gotta get out to Australia more often. I don't know a lot of these cities, but it's right across the board, and that's just coming out of Melbourne. Let's move over here, people, to... Let's not forget New Zealand. A lot of people forget New Zealand, and it's a small country, and they're... Are you ready for this, people? Rise of ghost homes. More than 33,000 Auckland. That's in Auckland. That's not even in all of Auckland dwellings officially classified empty. 33 large. 33,000. 33 big ones. That's huge. Cities vacancy rate is greater than Sydney and Melbourne. This is huge. More than 33,000 Auckland dwellings are officially classified empty as the city grapples with a crisis of affordable housing and homelessness. Auckland 6.6% vacancy rate is higher than either Sydney 5.2% or Melbourne 4.8%, what we just discussed, where there has been an uproar over ghost houses. Deliberable, I can't even read that, left empty and speculators trading on soaring markets. Critics such as Labour's Phil Twyford claimed the figures show that the same is happening here, especially in 2013 census figured that predate to increase in foreign buyers in 2014 and 2015. But skeptics, including Housing Minister Nick Smith and an independent analyst who examined the figures for the Weekend Herald, say there is no evidence that large numbers of local foreign buyers are deliberately leaving their houses empty while prices increase. Oh no. So there's no evidence of that. The figures follow news this week that major banks are restricting loans to foreign buyers. BNZ yesterday joined ANZ and Westpac, saying it will no longer recognize foreign income for New Zealand or Australian citizens and would require 40% deposit from New Zealand and Australia citizens not currently living in New Zealand but using foreign income to service a loan. Well, the banks are losing because they're not the ones borrowing from the local banks anymore. Woo! So that's New Zealand, people. Let's move ahead here. So we should call on a international world emergency. Okay, let's head on to Vancouver. I did this already, but we're going to cover this in this one here. New census counts 25,502 unoccupied homes in Vancouver, 50% up from over 2011. So that's just homes. Imagine the amount of condos that are empty. Woo! I got a friend that's living in the downtown area, and he's telling me that there's like 6 people living in his entire condo with like 500 units in it. The latest census numbers for 2016 show there were 25,502 unoccupied or empty house units in the city of Vancouver. That's 50% higher during the last census in 2011. Urban planner Andy Yan of Simon Fraser University City Program compared census data for Vancouver over several decades, seeing how the percentage of unoccupied units or ones occupied solely by foreign residents or temporary residents on census day has doubled during that time. In 1986, it was 4%. In 2016, rose 8.2%. Exact definitions and measures have changed slightly over 30 years, and patterns should be imperative and directional. Yan writes as a report also released on Wednesday. For Vancouver, the direction is up. There you go, 25,502. 28% in Burnaby, the bordering city of Vancouver. Let's keep going here, people. We need to send out a national emergency. Save this. Send this on your social media. Let's go to London. Almost 57,000 homes in London stand empty, according to the Charity of Empty Homes. Think of what you must feel like to Londoners struggling to access homes they need, as so many stand boarded up, often attracting antisocial behavior and blightening communities. I don't even know what that means. Although they won't be a complete solution, these homes would provide major boost to the supply of homes. All that is needed is some imaginative thinking of bringing back them into use. So these are a lot of homes that are left empty and unoccupied. And you know what? Living anywhere in London, I wouldn't mind living in anywhere in London. So, I mean, there's parts of London that, I mean, if there's 57,000, they're saying here that some of it has to do with foreign investing, some of it has to do with just people leaving their homes empty. But 57,000 homes in London alone, that's huge. And with the amount of homelessness in London too, and people like it said here struggling to make ends meet. Let's keep going to Toronto. I love Toronto. Toronto has 99,000 unoccupied homes here, where they are interactive. New data Statistics Canada show that 99,236 homes in the Toronto CMA are irregularly occupied. So we thought we'd map them. So they created a map on this really good article. Hold my beer, Vancouver, we got this. The newly released 2016 census number for Statistics Canada showed that the city of Toronto saw Vancouver's 25,000 unoccupied homes and trumped it by another 74,000 units. Now with over 99,000 unoccupied homes in the city, speculation of Toronto real estate might have worsened than previously thought. 99,000 regularly unoccupied. The number of homes in the GTA aren't being occupied is growing almost as fast as the price of shelter. The latest numbers show that 99,236 homes are not regularly occupied, as identified by the owner of the residence. This represents 4.5% of all homes in the city and 10.5% change over the past 5 years. The general population grew 4.5% during the same period, which means this trend appears to be accelerating. The rate of irregular occupancy was mostly skewed by the few concentrated pockets. Most of the city came under 5% level, by few areas were nowhere near that. The highest rate in the Concord and Vaughan area came at 35.27%. Interesting, since the number of new projects are slated to hit the area. You know, because who doesn't want a pita terre next to IKEA? Pita terra next to IKEA. Okay. Downtown Toronto, most units, 8.79 unoccupied. Massive 3,316 units, 21.8% not regularly occupied. Corridor going up Yonge Street also had a higher than usual concentrated when compared to the rest of the city. And Airbnb has to do with it. Foreign buyers again. Owners in Vancouver owning multiple properties. So I just wanted to put this one out there for Toronto. Here's another one here. This one's a classic. Nearly 11% of U.S. homes empty. 11%. And you know what the 11% is, people? Let me find this here for you in this article. 18.4 million vacant homes in the U.S. That's enormous. That's huge. If you sold them for $1 a home, if you sold those homes for $1 each, you'd have $18.4 million. Wow, that's huge. And younger Americans have seen homeownership has done to their families, friends, and families, and they want no part of it. Credit has become very nearly elitist. Home prices, whatever your particular data provider preferences might be, are still falling. So the prices of homes are going down in the U.S. I have a personal friend of mine in West Palm Beach, Florida, who has a house. I think it's for $129,000. It's a beautiful house too in the West Palm area, and it's been over 400 days on the market, and he can't sell the house for peanuts. He can't sell it for peanuts. No one wants it. You know what I'm saying? So this is a big thing here in the U.S., but a lot of it has to do with a lot of factors in the U.S. But along the West Coast, California has a lot of empty homes. Silicon Valley, San Francisco, San Jose is getting hit now. A lot of the cities there's a lot of foreign buyers coming in and buying up all of parts of California like that. Portland, Oregon's being hit, and Seattle just recently started getting hit when Vancouver added that foreign buying tax. And that's when Toronto started getting hit hard. Let's keep going. This one's from Dublin. 230,000 empty homes around the country. And let me get to Dublin here, in Ireland here, where it says Yeah. Countries like Scotland, England, and France actually penalize long-term vacancies. Once your house is vacant for more than a year in an area of high population density, you would start to pay dramatically increased tax every year. So that's what they're doing in a lot of those countries. In Dublin, there are 7,995 houses, 16,321 vacant apartments, yet rough sleeping is on the rise. Rough sleeping is homelessness. It's simply not acceptable for the government to sit on its hands and do nothing about the vacant properties when so many families in severe housing need. Yep, that's in Ireland. And let's move on to thousands of empty homes adding to Sydney's housing crisis, experts say. Sydney's housing affordability crisis is being artificially inflated by up to 90,000 properties standing empty in some cities' most desirable suburbs, experts say. Labor's tax reform will boost new housing supply. The federal opposition has defended proposed changes to its negative gearing rules, saying that they will put first-time home buyers on a more level playing field. Vacant properties were among the preserve outcomes of tax incentives that encourage some investors to favor capital growth over rental returns, according to the analysis by the UNSW's City Futures Research Center. Leaving houses empty is both profitable and subsidized by government. Researchers Bill Rudolph and Lawrence Torrey said that this is a taxation lunacy and a national scandal. Woo! According to the 2011 census in Sydney, emptiest neighborhoods of the CBA, Handy Market, and the Rocks, 1 in 7 dwellings was vacant. Close behind Manly Fright, Potts Point, Woolloomooloo, Dranglehurst, Neutral Bay, all these other places, above 13%. These neighborhoods took together with central Sydney, according to 7,200 empty homes. The analysis of 90,000 unoccupied dwellings across the metropolitan Sydney compared to the number of empty homes in the suburb against the rate of return investors may be renting out properties. It found that properties in the neighborhoods with lower rental yields and higher expected capital gains were more likely to be unoccupied. So they got to put this, this is a long article, so they got to put this in order. The amount of empty homes around the world is in the millions, and it's really sad that housing's become a commodity, and there's never been any market to go up and shoot up this high for so long and stay high and keep climbing and then plateau and then keep going up again and plateau and keep going up again and nothing crashes. And I got a lot of people commenting saying there's going to be no crash, prices will stay the same. Well, what's going to end up happening? It's going to be like Vancouver, Toronto. They just become ghost cities. I'm in Merritt. I live in a beautiful small town. It's a beautiful downtown area. It's very cowboyish. That's where I'm wearing my cowboy hat now in public, so I don't feel embarrassed anymore. Beautiful people. I bought it. The house is 11 bedroom, 6 bath. I'm not using them all as bedrooms. I have my gym. Follow me on my Living the Dream segment that I have in my channel. It's called Living the Dream, and I show updates I'm doing in my house, rooms I'm painting, different rooms. I'm going to put a cigar room to put cigars, like a humidor room, a small one, the size of a closet. I'm going to get one of the closets in one of the rooms and light it up and put some glass doors, things like that. Like things I wouldn't do living in the city of Vancouver. I could never do living in the city of Vancouver. Because it's just a teardown is $2 million. And buying the house I have here on a 0.9 acre of land in a cul-de-sac would probably cost me about $7-8 million in Vancouver. You can see my house on Living the Dream segment on my YouTube channel if you want to see what I picked up for $260,000. And I bought it with my down payment that I was saving in Vancouver to buy a teardown. So let me know what you guys think about this empty homes. I just see people, millennials, I think younger people, a lot of them are going to get smart and say, you know what? I want my own home. I want my own home. I want to live in my own home, and I want to do what I want with my own home. 50% of the people that do own homes, because the major reason is for family, and the other 30% that own it actually like to do things for their home. Like me, I love doing things, projects, and I'm going to put up some crown moldings in a few weeks. I got a few things, projects I'm working on with my garden, things like that. And it means a lot to me. And then now I have 2 babies, they're growing up, and I want my son to plant a garden with me. I want to have an ice rink in the winter in the backyard, a big ice rink. It's a huge piece of land, right? So I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use it well. And I just think these major cities, I think they're just so superly overrated, and I just see people leaving. I don't care what the views are. I just think people are just going to get fed up. They'll take a lower wage job working somewhere else and just being happy and having their own, and spending less because buying power is less. Your buying power is more. Sorry, you buy more. Your buying power is stronger because you're living in a smaller town as opposed to living in a big city where everything's so expensive. And you know, a lot of people think, oh, you know, I'm saving money because I'm on transit now. No, you're not. When you do all the factors and the waiting and the time, you're better off living in the country, owning your car and doing your thing and having your own transportation than it is to when you start adding up transit costs and adding up the time you spend waiting on transit. I don't know. Comment below. Should this be a national emergency? Should people look at this and say, hey, this is a big deal. There's too many Australian proper homeless. Some of them are veterans. There's too many Canadian proper homeless and veterans suffering from PDS or PSD, or I forgot what it's called. I have a friend that's suffering from that from being in the war in Iraq. And he's homeless. He's living in a church. Things like that. Should people start making this more of a national emergency? Because the propers from the countries that paid the taxes all their lives, and their parents paid and their grandparents paid into the taxation system to build what the country is today, are not getting their return, or they're not getting, they're not being true. It's not being fair. It's not fair. Anyways, tired. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Get this out there. Put this on your social media. Let's get the housing market a big social media topic because no one's talking about it. Let's get out there. Let's get this out there. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think.